Hey again, YouTube, nut job with a machete in the back of my car. A little scent thing hanging next to me. Anyways, why the hell am I in the back of my car? Well, it's winter. It's, crap, what the hell is today? 23rd of December. It's not that cold today, but recently we've had strong winds, whiteout conditions, all that stuff. And it reminded me of a couple of times, five different vehicles too, that I've had to shelter out a winter storm or shelter in a crapped out vehicle, or one time seek shelter in -40 while wearing a skidoo suit and on a skidoo. Anyways, I can tell you those stories, but it'll make this video really long. Anyways, what I thought I would do, so I shared it on Facebook and I asked, would you guys be interested in a video on how to, like, the bare necessities of how to survive or last out a blizzard or a stalled car in winter, that kind of thing. Now, you've already seen that I do prefer, if I can, to go find an area to make a shelter, and that way I can have a fire and boil water and make coffee and all that fun stuff. Sometimes that's not possible. And when that's not possible, like, I'll just give you a couple examples because I don't want this to be a big, long, rambling video. But, for instance, whiteout conditions. You're on a road and you can't see. You basically have a choice of pull over or maybe drive into a ditch or a parked car or a person or something, right? So you pull over where it's safe and you've got to wait out the storm. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be going, well, you could just start the car. Well, we'll get into that after this. Now, 8 years ago, I was driving to St. Paul, which is just north of Edmonton here, and it's only like an hour and 30 or hour and 45-minute drive. It took me 6 hours because we had both whiteout conditions, a blizzard basically, and the aftermath, which meant the roads were terrible and all of that stuff. So I had to wait out that, both the blizzard and the let them get the roads cleared enough for my rental truck to actually go through. So, it's those kinds of things. Or your car's stalled out and it's winter. You've made your phone call, you're waiting for someone. In each one of those instances, of course, I recommend you contact someone and let them know what's going on. It's a blizzard, I'm, 16 kilometers past Macklin, Saskatchewan, or my car's crapped out outside of Viking. My truck crapped out outside of Viking. Hey, look. I've already set up one of the things that I'm going to talk about, because it was blinding. The light, obviously, as you can see, was quite blinding. There's even light still coming in from here, but obviously I haven't set up the filter kind of thing. But anyways, those conditions, call someone, let someone know where you are, all of that stuff. If you have GPS, ping the GPS. Now, running your car. I actually do agree with running your car if it runs, and I think you should do it once every hour for about 10 or 15 minutes. Why don't I think you should run it all the time? Blizzards are unpredictable. Whiteout conditions are unpredictable. It could be, I've been in some that are only 30, 40 minutes. Some that are 5. You pull over, you stop off at a gas station, get a sandwich, and it's gone. And I've been in some, there was one on the way from Rouyn-Noranda in northern Quebec to Temiskaming Shores. It was the worst winter they'd ever had. I'd been awake for about 42 hours in a rented Volkswagen Golf with no winter tires and basically nothing in it. It was kind of like, it's a little bit smaller than this, actually. Here, I'm not whacking my head. But I had to hunker down for a bit, and I had no idea how long the thing was. It was a rental, so obviously I didn't have a kit. Behind me, in my trunk, is a full kit. And I mean, it's over-engineered. If you guys want to see that, comment down below, and I'll do a video on the full kit. Like, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, if you want that, comment down below. If you want me to talk about different survival things in the car, talk about that below. But now, we're going to go over what I think is basically the bare minimum. This is essentially what I had in that Volkswagen. I've actually kind of grabbed a couple of things. I had, it was a can of Coke. It was a bigger can of Coke. This is that little 225 one. I had some snacks that I had picked up at a gas station in Hawaii. I had some chicken nuggets and fries. I had a couple of garbage bags, a extension cord, which took me forever to find, and I actually ended up buying my own, blah, 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 blah. I had my gear. I was okay. The garbage bags, I was able to make a little shelter, which is what I'm going to do in here. But what I want to show you is basically the minimum that I think you should have in your car. What I did was I actually talked to my aunt. She lives out on a farm. You know, what's the bare minimum that you carry in your Jeep? So that's kind of where I set the bare minimum, because obviously I'm crazy and have everything else. But, you know, this is someone who's experienced winter conditions and so on and so forth.
So this is the little tin that I have. Sorry guys, you're basically going to be looking at my crotch. Here, let me move the battery that I've got hooked up to my other camera, and we'll put it up here. So, lids are handy. Tell you more about a lid, besides reflective. Okay. I'm going to try and make this as steady as I can with my left hand. Anyways, Mylar Blanket. You know that I like these in my kits. Far North Bushcraft and Survival, Lonnie talks about them in a recent video. Feel free to go over and take a gander at that. He talks about the drawbacks and some myths and so on and so forth, but he also talks about how to properly use them. Basically, you're using this like tin foil. It's to keep the heat in, not to insulate yourself from the ground. Bottle of water. Get to that in a sec. A multi-tool. Little pouch with a flashlight. A 100 lumen flashlight, Cree LED, and of course twist to make it more focused. Light handy, light for signaling, so on and so forth. One thing that I don't have in here that is actually in the trunk, because I don't like putting it in an enclosed container, flares, road flares. Assume right now that we're in a blizzard condition and flares are going behind me to warn people of where I am. Now, as you can see, there's some other stuff in there. Okay, so let's take out the water bottle if I can. Like I said, this one was too big for the tin, so I crushed it a little bit. Something like this, which is a candle in a tin. You're going back to my crotch. Little candle in a tin. This is actually a survival candle in a tin, which we went through, and then I made another one. And yes, it's little Christmas frogs. I think it's kind of cute. Anyways, one candle in a tin. This is, yeah, it's an EDC gear match holder. There's some strike all matches, some storm matches, and a strike pad in here. It came with a few other little things, but I actually carry them in the center console. So you can strike the matches off of here. So matches, because of course, what uses candle without fire? Garbage bags. There's still more in there. Orange garbage bags. I'll show you the shelter thing. You can use them to cover yourself up like a poncho, signaling, anything like that. I've used these as mattress base underneath a tarp and slept on that. You remember the 10-pound challenge? Yeah. I've also used these to shore up a little outside shelter. So I got 3 of them in here. You could probably fit more if you needed to. This is the other thing. All-purpose household candles. And yes, I do love the fact they're kosher Shabbat candles. They're about $1 at Princess Auto. Yes, they're little, but they do work, and I'll show you a little lantern thing in a little bit. Last thing, food. Food. I always carry at least one of these on me. Just a Cliffs bar or a granola bar or a protein bar, something. I actually like this. The oatmeal raisin walnut is really tasty. But yeah, I usually carry one of them on me, and there's one in the glove compartment, and there's one in here. Sometimes you'll look out and you'll have, you know, your little treats that you picked up at a gas station, or maybe you were at a Christmas party and someone like like Murray had given me fish, which, you know, if that was in my car, hey, I'd eat the fish. So yeah, anyways, that's the tin. Now I'll show you the quick little shelter and I'll give you some temperature measurements.
Yeah, the rest of the stuff are just stuff that I carry all the time. Hand warmers, because Nikki's always cold. Sunglasses, because, you know, if it's bright. One of those little stretchy face mask thingies, which actually are handy when you're in a little shelter. Gloves, all that stuff. I'm wearing my cargo pants with a few things in the pocket. That kind of stuff, right? The glow-in-the-dark... Look at me. Sorry. I'm having more fun with these videos. Glow-in-dark UV pack light. What is this, the UFO? Anyways, this was part of the scout pack, along with it's on a PS Cook necklace with a ferro rod and a striker. And this is the stuff that has the wax jute and blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'm equipped. I'm well equipped, right? So, how am I going to survive in this better than what I've currently got on? Things. Windows. For instance, this one's all fogged up right now. So is that one. The ones in the front are getting there. Colder outside than inside. It's... Sorry, I'm looking at the panel. It's only about -10 outside. -9-ish. Celsius. Don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. And in here, I have other side. My backpack has a compass and a thermometer on it, so give me a sec. In here, it is... so I've been in this car for about 25 minutes. I had opened up the car completely to get it cold in here, and it is right around 0. So it's 10 degrees warmer in here just from my body heat. And no, I haven't had the heater going or anything like that. 10 degrees warmer in here just from my body heat, moving around, showing you stuff, all of that. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not cold. I am sitting on the back seat, and there's stuff, you know, like I got a little draft of wind coming in from the trunk that is freezing cold. The draft up, you know, the seat belt buckle spots on here, there's a draft coming in there, and my butt is cold. So I imagine probably blocking off the main stuff where things come in the back. Anyways, we've got a little shelter to build. Well, make sure you got enough fuel in the tank to build your shelter. And no, I'm not getting any money from Coke for this. And I'm waiting for someone in the comments down below to go, "No Coke, Pepsi!" Excuse me. That was well brought up. Too bad I wasn't. Anyways, oh, one of the other things that I never mentioned that I always have in the car, because again, Nikki's cold, is a blanket. And that kit has a wool blanket as well. This one's a nice little poly one. I have camped with just this, and it was about 10 degrees, and it went down to about 3 degrees at night, and this kept me warm. So, blanket, also handy. Anyways, shelter. I'm going to put this onto time-lapse, just so that I don't bore you with, let's see what Nutjob is doing. I might even have to bring you into the shelter, which probably means you're going to be shooting up from my crotch. Sorry. As you can see, well, as you can tell from watching the video, right, I got this side up, and I'm just about ready to pull this side up. Reasons behind doing this, of course, is it's going to trap your heat. It's also going to trap a little bit of your moisture. So what I've done is actually draped it a little bit so that if there's any condensation on this, it's not going to drip down on you. It's going to drip off to the side. You'll have a damp spot in your car, but whatever. You'll be alive. So one of the reasons why, you do 3 is this will go over top. Like, remember how I mentioned that the windows were going to suck out your heat? I think I mentioned that. If I didn't, the windows are going to suck out your heat. And so will, why am I in the back seat, right? 2 things. One, up front, you've got vents, and the cold air is coming right in. So one of the things that you should do, which I didn't, of course, mention, close your vents. As soon as you pull over, close your vents. That way the cold air, like if the wind's coming from any direction, truthfully, will actually not necessarily come in the vents. It'll still come in. You'll still get cold in your car, especially if you have like a sunroof or, anything like that. And the bigger the vehicle, the more cold it's going to get. But we'll talk about that at the end of the video. But yeah, shut that down. My papa used to tell me to, if the wind was coming from side to side, your car would get colder faster because the wind was going under the car. So what he recommended is on the windward side, shovel up some snow so that the wind wouldn't go under your car. That's an idea. I've never actually tried it because truthfully, in a blizzard, there's usually snow building up on the windward side of the car anyways, and half the time on the leeward side too. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to take you guys off of there. I'm going to pull you into my little shelter and try and finish it off. And I'll show you kind of why I keep random shit in my car or what random shit can be used for. So, one sec. Anyways, this one, over to the back. Now, I tried to split it roughly in half. Doesn't have to be necessarily perfectly symmetrical, but roughly in half will give you a decent, really crinkly, amount of garbage bag to work with. And then what I do is slide it in the back over the sunshade. Now the sunshade is one of the ones that has a reflective side and a non-reflective side, so I've set the reflective side in to bounce the heat back. So, alright, so how do I secure this stuff to the side? If you've got the oh shit handles, just stick them in the oh shit handles. One other thing that I usually carry is duct tape of some sort. This is Gorilla Tape, the little 1-inch wide ones, and I'm not going to use a lot. This is in my kit, in my car, in that tin. I had taken it out before to keep that from falling down, so I didn't mention that. But yeah, a little piece and just hold it in place. Up here, you can put Gorilla Tape and everything too, but I realized while I was fidgeting it around that I can use this as a cross piece. So I'm going to stick it up front, and then I'm actually going to adjust the headrests to hold this in place. And that'll be a cross piece. There we go. What that does is gives me a spot that I can just drape this over. There we go. This actually closes in my shelter nicely. Whoops, sorry guys. This closes in my shelter nicely. I'm going to put couple pieces of duct tape here to just kind of keep the cold air, basically, from coming in. Make sure that I've got my garbage bags lined up. So, yeah, let me just take this up. The key thing, of course, in any of these situations is stay calm. Don't rush. But if you rush with a knife, you'll cut yourself. Even with this thing, while being really careful, I poked a couple of holes in this. So just be aware and be careful. Now, I'm attaching this higher up than I normally would like, mostly for you guys. But
we have a little enclosed shelter. Normally, what I would actually prefer is I would use this thing as a crossbar and put it behind the seats. The reason for that is to enclose it in further. For you guys, I'm putting it in the front because this is basically, it's a simulation. I'm showing you how. But I would recommend putting it behind the seats. If you do have it like this, though, there is a benefit. If you do set up a candle down here on the ground in a safe spot, for instance, on the lid of your tin, provides a nice, flat, big surface. Put your candle on that, and you can light it, and that could be your heat source in here. Now, once I've got all this set up, I'll mention a few other little things, and then I'm going to go into the garage and show you the easiest way to make them, just to cut this video length down, because it's probably going to be like 30 or 40 minutes as it stands. Anyways, I still have another garbage bag. What the hell am I going to do with this one? This is simple. The windows are still exposed here. I either have to cover them up or find some way to enclose this. Two options. Cover them up, enclose. What am I going to do? This is actually a rather nice big bag, right? I got the 121 liters or whatever. I'm going to split this in half, and then I'm going to cut half of it in half. So I'm going to have a quarter over this window, a quarter over that window. Then I'm going to put the other half of it under me. And the reason for that is that cold air coming through, right? Like even here, I can sort of feel it. I suppose if I pulled down this little thing, yeah, it's cold back there. Added cushioning. And then what I'm going to do is just basically hunker down here. Okay, so now I'm done. I'll show you on the other camera in a minute what it's like in my shelter. Now, I'm actually sitting cross-legged here. I've taken my boots off. Because basically at this point, because it's a simulation, I don't want to get blood on my seats. There's fucking sparkles all over my seats, which are probably all over my ass right now. From wrapping paper Nikki used. But I have the garbage bags up on the windows. Now, actually, because there was condensation already on the windows, they basically kind of wicked right onto the window. I don't know if you can hear that, the garbage bag over top of those little seatbelt clicks. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I have my blanket. This is the heavy toque. What I might do is my hands inside the heavy toque. Because if you're sleeping, that's actually kind of nice. And it keeps your hands warm. Put this toque on. Put my jacket on. And then I'll grab the other camera and show you guys how I am in here. And then I'll even light up the candle and spend some time in here. Check the temperature in, say, 15 minutes. And see how it is.
Ta-da! So, of course, there's still going to be light coming in from there, but this is essentially... Now, like I said, I had to... Look, the camera's on camera. I had to drape this over top of that. So normally this little light that you would see, that would be enclosed. I would prefer to have this back here, but yeah, it's actually not cold. You will, of course, have spots where, yes, you can see straight through. And leaning up against the window is going to be cold, but try and do this slowly so I don't make you guys sick. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Where would I recommend putting a candle? Right here, and in fact, I'll do that. Just gotta figure out how to film it. One sec.
There we go. Sorry, you're kind of perched precariously. But, yeah. Anyways, like I said, you can take your candle. I'd say take your tin candle, blah, blah, blah. Of course, you're going to have your matches in your kit, or a lighter. So let's see. I hope you guys can see that. I can't see the camera, but yeah, so here's your candle. Thing to be aware of, if you've got a candle, is where the fuck it is. So obviously you don't want it too close to the plastic. You don't want it too close to your blanket. You don't want it too close to the parts of your car that'll melt. So right in the middle. They say that a candle, even a tea candle or something like that, will increase the temperature in a car up to 4 or 5 degrees. But for right now, because I don't need the candle and I want to show you without it, we're just going to get rid of that guy. There we go. Now he's out. And back up to me. Hello. So yeah, we'll take a temperature reading. I'll stay in here for like about 15 minutes. We'll take a temperature reading. And yeah.
So it's been about, let me look at the clock, 25 minutes. I fell asleep. And of course I'm not going to set an alarm for when I'm sleeping in the back of a car for a video. I'm really comfy, actually. So I'm warm. My torso is obviously really warm because of the jacket and the long sleeve. But my legs are comfy and warm. And like I said, I took off my boots. I'm wearing wool socks just to, again, simulate. Sorry, let's keep going down. To simulate. It's really bright out there, isn't it? This situation. I need a cup of coffee to wake up now. But yeah, I'm comfy. It's, okay, check. It's, damn, that's actually not bad. 12 degrees in my little shelter. And it's still reading at -9 outside. So that's 21 degrees difference just inside the car without the candle going. With the candle, it still smells like sandalwood and wax a little bit. So is my hand. Without the candle going, you know, a 21 degree difference inside this little shelter is kind of, that's actually better than I thought it would be, truthfully. I never had a chance to measure this stuff before. So yeah, let's see if I can get that stupid, there. Ah! Now you just have the halo effect. Anyways. Yeah, that's about it. We'll go inside. I'll do the quick little lantern thing that I was telling you about. So, when I open the car door to come in here, it's freaking cold outside, especially compared to inside the car. Anyways, I was going to show you a quick lantern thing, and I was going to talk about surviving in a truck. So, I'll show you the lantern at the end. That'll keep you glued. One of the things that I realized I never used was my little Mylar blanket in there. So, yeah, I could have been even warmer. But let's talk about surviving a couple other vehicles, because I know someone's going to have a question about that, because that was a car. Trucks, especially if you don't have an extended cab, are both better and worse. There's a bench seat in this one, as there was in my first truck. The thing is, you have the 4 windows to worry about, so you're going to need to put something on the back window, on the side windows, and on your windscreen. And also, you won't be able to get away from those front vents, so you pretty much have to lift yourself up. So in this, I would actually have 4 garbage bags, just in case, because then you can put back, front, or if you've got one of those reflectors, you can put them on the front. You can do the sides, and then if you need to, you can put one across the footwells, and then that will actually kind of enclose your structure, your little shelter, a little bit more. It means you probably won't be able to have a candle in there, but with it that small, you'll be a little better off. Vans and sport utilities, though, you've got the luxury of space. You can go to the back seat, or you can go to the middle seat. You know, depends on the configuration. I was in a Flex. I went into the back seat because I could just kind of enclose myself in that. In Edge, there was no, like, you got the back seat and then you've got the big open hatch area. It's a little different in that. Same thing in a van. You have so much extra space, you're going to get colder. The upside is, in those situations,
it's probable, not necessarily likely, but probable that you're carrying more people. More people, more heat. Huddle together, you know, make your little shelter around you, and you should still be okay. I want to point out that these are guidelines from my experience only. I'm not responsible for if you freeze and you were trying to do it my way. This is just how I was able to do it. So yeah, you know, just be aware of that. That's about it. Let's do the quick little lantern.
Okay, we're just going to do it with a pocket knife. We're going to use the candles from the little survival pack because it'll fit in there. You're going to note I'm going to have to nick off a little bit or melt off a little bit of this so that it fits in there. But yeah, other thing you can do, if you have access to oil or something like that, you can actually just create a wick with toilet paper or paper towel or something like that. Stick it down in there, hold it in place with this. You know, have your liquid in here, and you can light it up using that. You can also do that with tin foil, cooking oil, and tissue. Anyways. Rough and dirty version, by the way. Keep your fingers well away. You guys have probably seen this before, but I usually find the last one is easier, or the last one, the second one is easier to do towards. Then you just continue about halfway. This is not going to be pretty. This is just going to be functional. So that was what, 12 seconds? And then you just fold it out. You have to leave enough material so the can is stable. But you can close it in or open it up, depending on how much light or heat you need. But it just stands up like that. I'm going to use matches rather than my lighter, because this is more likely to be what you have. Now you can do this, or you can drip wax. But as you can see, it's a little big, and it's going to poke out. So I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. There you go. Rather than waste another match. There. It's lightly stuck, but as you can see, it's coming out the top, so I'd suggest trimming it down a little bit more. It's also not centered, but yeah. Quick and dirty. For these, I actually like using tea candles better, because they just sit down. So, yeah, that's about it. Final thoughts? Well, as with everything, psychology is kind of big. Stay calm. You can see my breath in here. It's actually, like I said, colder in here than it was in the car by quite a bit. Even when the heater came on, I turned it off. Well, I was getting ready to do that lantern. I need coffee. A nap kind of made me sleepy. Anyways, and it's only about 4 degrees in here, which is right around when you see your breath. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry. These survival scenario ones do tend to get long. I put a lot of random information into it while I'm thinking of shit, because of course I might not necessarily show you everything. But yeah, psychology is big. You know, make sure that you stay calm, that you're aware, and yeah, you can pretty much outlast your average blizzard, or you know, you can be stuck in your car for 8 hours waiting for a tow or something like that. I do recommend, if you have the opportunity to get to a house or, you know, a safe shelter, gas station, something like that, do it. But this was, you couldn't for whatever reason. So yeah, that's about it. I want to thank you very much for watching this probably long and rambling video. I really hope that it did help you, and I hope that it gave you ideas of what you can do in your vehicle wherever you are. You know, up north in Northwest Territories, Yukon, Alaska, you know, out west in BC, in Ontario, whatever, down in Utah, hi Rob. You know, or when you're out in the field, hi Murray. And Nadine and the rest of you. But, you know, I hope it gave you ideas for that. Obviously, I didn't need the entire kit for today. Maybe it was mine 30. I would have used that Mylar Blanket, but yeah. If you have an idea that you want to share, or, you know, a question about what I did or why I did it a specific way, feel free to, you know, put your question down below. Yeah, and that is pretty much it. Again, thanks for watching this video. If you like videos like this, feel free to click like and subscribe, and feel free to share this video as much as you want, especially if you have friends who are like, hey, dude, you live in the middle of nowhere and you carry nothing in your car. So, yeah. Until next time, guys, I'm not chopped with machete. Stay sharp and warm and comfy, because, yeah, it's cold out there. Bye, guys.